Now I am making my collard greens stuffed shells. I've had some pasta shells that I cooked until it was al dente. It was just about 7 minutes. You're probably wondering how I got this idea of collard greens and pasta. Well, one day I thought about making lasagna for Brian, but he's like, I just don't want your typical lasagna. Well, can you do something different? Had some collard greens in the fridge that I really needed to get rid of. So I thought about it. Why not make a Southern style lasagna? Brian loved it. So for his birthday, I want to do something a little different. Instead of making a lasagna, I'm stuffing it into shells. Now I am making the bechamel. So I'm melting 2 tablespoons of butter unsalted, and I'm going to also add my 2 tablespoons of flour to help thicken the sauce. Okay. Now I'm going to slowly pour in my heavy cream. And that's 2 3/4 cups of heavy cream. And as it starts to heat, it's going to start to thicken up. I'm going to season this as well, a few pinches of salt and freshly cracked black pepper. My bechamel has thickened up. Now I'm going to add my collards. All right, just give it a taste. Make sure I don't need to add any more seasoning to it. That is delicious. All right, so I'm gonna let that cool. I've already diced 1 Vidalia onion. I've diced it pretty fine. Now I'm going to dice 2 cloves of garlic. So I like using a Vidalia onion because it's a little sweeter than your standard yellow onion. They're plentiful down here in the South, so I love using Vidalia onions. All right, so I've minced my garlic. Now I am going to move my cream of collards out of the way, bring another pot over here. I'm gonna add a little olive oil so nothing sticks. Now I'm gonna add my onions and garlic and get it sauteed down. Add a little salt to help bring out some of that moisture. It's like this, if I'm at someone's house or at a restaurant and I smell the smell of like onions and garlic cooking, I don't care what you're cooking, I want a plate. There is all of this flavor at the bottom of this pan, so I need to bring it up. Now I have some white wine that I like to use. Okay, so now that most of that alcohol is kind of cooked out, I'm gonna add my meat. I have a pound of 80-20 beef, that's 80% meat, 20% fat. Fat equals flavor. I have about 8 ounces or about a half a pound of country sausage. Now that's my little Southern twist on there, is adding the country sausage and the collard greens. So country sausage is seasoned ground pork, also commonly called breakfast sausage. I like to also add in about a tablespoon of my house seasoning. Now that's garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, and a little bit of paprika. Brian is going to enjoy this. Now I am making a meat sauce, so of course you gotta have some crushed tomatoes. And so this is something that I like to do, and this is what my mom has always done, is add a little sugar to help balance out the acidity. And then I'm also gonna add a half a cup of chicken broth. So I'm gonna let this simmer for about 20 minutes until it gets nice and thick. Now, the longer you let it simmer, the more concentrated that flavor gets. So you can do it a little longer, but Brian is not gonna be out for too long, so 20 minutes will do for me. All right, that looks good and it's starting to thicken up. I'm gonna turn the heat off. I have my 9x13 dish here that I have sprayed with a little nonstick. So this is how I'm gonna do this. I have my meat gravy here. Put a little bit at the bottom first, just kind of like you do a lasagna, so your pasta shells don't stick to your pan. Take a little bit of that tomato sauce, stuff it into the shell, and line them up. What I'm gonna do next is just get my cream of collards and just spoon it on top. And don't skimp with this, just put it all on top. It's just the more, the merrier. Now I'm gonna take some of this Asiago cheese, spread that Asiago on top. Cover this. All right, 350, covered for 30 minutes. It's gonna be all bubbly and browned on top. I'm hungry. I'm hungry right now. I'm going to uncover them and crank the oven up to 375 so I can really get the party started. All right, I can smell those stuffed shells in there. I'm pretty sure they are done. Oh, yeah, baby. These are done. Look at that. Look how beautifully torched and brown these stuffed shells are. Look at all that bubbly sauce.